Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. As you can see, I am at Patrick's this evening, and this evening, much as I have said on numerous occasions, I try not to be political. This evening we're talking about censorship. Not just censorship of the media, but just the way things are going, the way things are being changed, etc. Because I'm just irked now. So the reason I was irked is I read in one of the news reports this evening, just not long ago, about 10 minutes ago, so that completely changed what I was going to tell you, that a teacher in Florida is being investigated because they showed the children in their class a Disney movie. Now, they had put out a permission slip to the parents saying, was it all right to show the children Disney movies and DreamWorks movies? And if so, if there was any exceptions, please list them here. And there was nobody had listed any exceptions. Every parent had said, yes, it's okay. And so the teacher showed them this movie called Strange World. Now, I have not seen that movie, but seemingly it has a gay character in it. And oh my goodness, the panic, the consternation in amongst the parents when some child went home and said, oh, that movie had a gay character. And now the teacher's getting investigated. Are you having a laugh? That is the least of your worries right now if you have a child, that they've seen a movie with a gay character. And what that then, my thought process went was, well, look at what else is getting done. There's been reports recently about the investigation that was done into statues in the UK and whether they have links with slavery. Now, one of them was a football player from very recently, and because he knew someone who knew someone who knew someone, you know, you're like, really? It was nothing to do with him, it was to do with the football club or something like that. And I thought, do you know, see if you look back, let's start at the beginning of where I see things and how it's going, because the movies, if you're talking about movies, they reflect the people who've made them. Now, we all know that movies from the 50s, the 60s, even the 70s were very racist, they were very misogynistic. I mean, goodness gracious, let's not show a female that had a mind of her own. Females were nice little housewives who should stay in the kitchen and make sandwich. We all know how I feel about that, I can see from your faces. Then you've got the racist ones where, you know, if you had a movie, if you had a coloured person in a movie, they were either running the Chinese laundry or they were one of the maids or they were a slave. That's what the movies did because they reflected life as it was at that time. We may not like it now, but that's how it was at that time. Then you go back further and you've got your books, your Jane Austen, your Pride and Prejudice and such, where, you know, the most important thing for a woman is to find a good husband. But that's how it was at the time. Go back further. The language has changed in books. Go back further. You've got the Europeans taking Africans as slaves, the Romans taking Europeans as slaves, the English taking the Scottish as slaves. I remember being a kid getting told Gaelic was useless, it was a stupid language, there's no point, nobody speaks it. Now, it wasn't that Gaelic had gone away. You were put to death if you were heard speaking Gaelic in Scotland. So that was a murdered language. That wasn't a language that died out. Just as the Africans who were stolen as slaves, their family history, their traditions got phased out. Just like when the Romans took other slaves, their traditions got phased out. Now, funnily enough, when I was a kid, we accepted that Shakespeare spoke in a very funny language. That was what Shakespeare did. We accepted that's not how things are done today. When I was a kid, things like Gone with the Wind, We accepted that that wasn't how things are now. It was how it was then, it was what was accepted. Now it's not what's accepted. All these sort of things, it's a different time. But in my day when you were at school, it was like, the famous five with lashings of ginger beer. No one speaks like that nowadays. No one spoke like that when I read the books. We just accepted that that was what it was like at the time. But funnily enough, now they want to change the books. They want to take out the language that was used at the time and update it. Why don't you just explain to people that it was a different time and that's how life was and that's how we've become what we are now because we lived through those times, and don't try and negate the experience of millions of us who fought, who suffered, who went through hell and back again. And you are now taking that away from them and going, oh, don't call anyone gay, don't call anyone brown. Oh, let's not read that book. Goodness gracious, you can't have a children's movie with a gay person in it. It's time we all grew up and accepted that that's how the world was. And if we whitewash that, then we whitewash our people's history. And I, for one, am not prepared to do that. And I'm sorry this went into a rant, but I am irked. So now I am going to go and pour myself an exceedingly large drink, and I'll catch you later.
Yay!
I got cross.